Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramahansa Padipi Vaicharan Bhakti Vedanta Sai Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON DPT Founder Acharya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Kota Vaishnava Ki. Nam Char Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Shri Paho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Shri Shri Radha Krishna Kumu Shama Radha Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mathura Dham Ki Dwarka Dham Ki Navadi Dham Ki Jamuna Mai Ki Ganga Mai Ki Tulsi Maharani Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Samveda Bhakti Shri Shri Gornatai Ki Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ki ISKCON Singapore Ki Premanand. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to Shri Shri. Now we are on verse. We're in the third canto, and we're talking about Lord Lord. What's the chapter?
31.
13. All right. Thank you very much. So 13. And what is the verse number? 32. Okay. That's interesting. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Krishna Sadamo Bhagavate Dhammyanadipi Saha Kalam Sadasham Mesha Parano Kondo Dita Narayana Namaskricha Naram Chaivam Narottamam Devya Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Agiraya. Bhagavatam is his grandest son. It is arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who've lost their vision through the dense darkness of the age of Kali should get light out of this Param. Before beginning our study the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, we should first offer our respects to the personality of God of Narayan, the Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, the goddess of the name of the Sattva, the author Srila Vyasadeva, and my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. Okay, now you're all on your devices and the birth and the verses up there. Alrighty. Jagana Randanam Ashaya Vikramam Sa Leelayevam Vikaragambasi Tat Rakta Pankankita Ganda Kundo Yita Gajendro Jagatim Vivindam. I'm trying to think of the tune. Jagana Randanam Asaya Vikramam Salila Yevam Rigaradi Vambasi Salila Yevam Rigaradi Gando Dunda
Tadraktapankankitagandatundo
Yata Gajendro Jagatim Bibindan
Yata Gajendro Jagatim Vivindam
Jagana Rundanam Asaya Vikramam
Namasaya Vikramam
Salila Yevam Rigaradi Vambasi
Salila Yevam Vikaradi Vambasi
Tadrakta Pankan Kitaganda Tundo
Tadraktapankankitagandatundo
Yata Gajendro Jagatim Bibindan
Yata Gajendro Jagatim Vivindam Jaganarundanamasaya Vikramam Salila Evam Vigaradi Vambasi Tadraktapankankitagandatundo Yata Gajendro Jagatim Vivindam Jaganarundanamasaya Vikramam Salila Evam Vigaradi Vambasi Tadraktapankankitagandatundo Yata Gajendro Jagatim Vivindam Jaganarundanamasaya Vikramam Salila Evam Vigaradi Vambasi Tadraktapankankitagandatundo Yata Gajendro Jagatim Vivindam
Vaishnavis
Jaganarundanamasaya Vikramam Salila Evam Vigaradi Vambasi Tadraktapankankitagandatundo Yata Gajendro Jagatim Vivindam Jaganarundanamasaya Vikramam Salila Evam Vigaradi Vambasi Tadraktapankankitagandatundo Yata Gajendro Jagatim Vibindan
Jagana Kill Rundanam The obstructive enemy Asha Unbearable Vikramam Prowess Sa Leelaya Easily Ibam The elephant Mrigarad The lion Iva light Ambasi in the water Tat Rakta of his blood Panka'ani Ankita smeared by the pool Ganda cheese Tunda tongue Yata as if Gajendra the elephant Jagatim earth Vibindan digging Thereupon Lord Board within the water, just as a lion kills an elephant. The cheeks and tongue of the Lord became smeared with the blood of the demon, just as an elephant becomes reddish from digging in the purple earth. There's no purple earth. Next verse is 33. Then the Lord, playing like an elephant, suspended the earth on the edge of his curved white tusks. He assumed a bluish complexion like that of a tumultuary, and thus the sages, headed by Brahma, could understand him to be the supreme personality of Godhead and offered respectful obeisances unto him. 34. All the great sages uttered with great respect, O incomparable enjoyer of all sacrifices, all glories and all victories unto you. You are moving in your form of the personified Vedas, and in the hair holes of your body, the oceans are submerged. For certain reasons, to uplift the earth, you have now assumed the form of a Lord. And Prabhupada says, the Lord can assume any form he likes, and in all circumstances, he is the cause of all causes. Since his form is transcendental, he is always the supreme personality of Godhead, as he is in the causal ocean in the form of Mahavishnu. Innumerable universes generate from the holes of his bodily hairs, and thus his transcendent body is the Vedas personified. He is the enjoyer of all sacrifices, and he is the incomparable supreme personality of Godhead. He is never to be misunderstood to be other than the Supreme Lord, because of his assuming the form of a boar to lift the earth. That is the clear understanding of the sages and great personalities like Brahma and other residents of the higher planetary systems. Om Ganatamarandasya Ganadhyasya Chakshur Asmeshi Namaha. Up, walk away, my friend. Walk away. Thank you. Well, you expect me to believe this? A boar? I mean, come on. I don't understand that. Well, let me ask you a question. When did you or us not understanding become the criteria for determining truth? Well, I don't understand. Oh, okay, sorry. It must not be true. Well, who are you? One man kept saying in the darshan, well, Swami, as far as I know. Well, Swami, as far as I know. Prabhupada said, that's my point. How far do you know? So, I mean, suppose a child, I don't know what the top math universities are, but let's say Caltech or MIT in America. And Badrinarayan Swami walks in and sees, they've got all those chalkboards and one slides behind others. And sometimes they have chalkboard formulas that go all the way around. So Badrinarayan Swami walks in and says, well, I don't understand. Do they erase all the formulas on the chalkboard and rewrite everything? And did you take math calculus? Did you take, who cares what you think? So one of the symptoms of Kali Yuga is that everybody is so puffed up. We can't find our way out of a shoebox without a GPS. And we're thinking we're so, well, I think. So we're dealing with the unlimited, the powerful, supreme Lord. Krishna can do it. He plays. He's having fun. He's got unlimited potencies. So he comes as a boar, he comes as a half man, half lion. And he comes in so many wonderful forms. I remember when I was a kid. Well, let me say this. What is the best? Well, I hope I don't get us in trouble. But some people say that you can't even understand the form of God. To say that God has a form, that's just offensive and blasphemy. And they'll chop off your head. That's the best they can imagine. You've got other people that, well, I had a father, my father had a father, my father's father had a father, right? So if I go Govindam Adi Purusham, if I go back to the first father, he must be a very old man, right? If you go to the Sistine Chapel and you see, it's painted by Michelangelo, I think, and you've got God is creating the first man, creating Adam, and touching him like this. And God is an old man with a beard. That's the best thing. Well, it's just they're following their mundane logic as far as they can understand. In other words, both of these, God has no, how could God have a form? You know, of course, the first question to ask is how can you say that the unlimited can't do something? As soon as you say God can't do, you've missed the whole point. So you're saying God can't have a form? Now, what is the nature of that form? It's spiritual, it's all. Krishna walks and he doesn't walk. He's near and he's very far away. So, but they just, with their own teeny little brain, try to figure out what God must look like, if there's God at all, and they try to limit and. But we don't know anything about anything. One time a devotee stood up, and so the logical, in other words, we believe this may be the ordinary person reading this thinks this is a fantastic story. Do we shy away from that being fantastic? We don't shy away from it at all. Shouldn't God be fantastic, mind-blowing? Otherwise, what kind of God is that? Prabhupada talks about there was some so-called God, and the devotees went to see him, and he wasn't there because the so-called yogi God had gone to the dentist. What kind of God has to go to the dentist? Spare me. So, and I remember when I was 6th grade in America, because I think you were 11 or 12 years old, and we had a science project, and we had to make a model of the universe. You ever do this as a kid in science? You get different styrofoam balls, different sizes, and you're painting different colors. Pluto's supposed to be purple, whatever it is, you can paint them different colors, and and they hang, and you got the sun and the, they got it all wrong, but anyway. Is it logical? Because we're accused of being, you're just sentimentalists and fanatics and small, you believe all this mythical, mumbo-jumbo, magical thinking. I'm a man of science. Well, show me the consistent logic. Should a 12-year-old child be able to make a model of the universe and understand the whole thing? We can't even understand how our hair is growing. You know, I mean, and we're gonna, I've got the secrets of the universe. The more they delve, the more it blows their mind. I don't want to get too far afield, but the mind, the AI, just give it us enough time, and they'll be able to do everything human beings can do. Maybe AI robots will keep us around as pets, but they're, it's just that the brain is just a sophisticated computer. No, it's not. They have no idea. They have literally, from MIT, one of the top AI schools in the world, they have no idea how to define and explain emotions. Why do I smell something? I can be 50 years old and smell a cookie. Zip! I'm all the way back to when I was 6 years old and my grandmother was baking for me. How in the world does that happen? Why do colors invoke emotions? Because ultimately, it's got to all go from, it's coming in as light, and it's got to all be broken down into impulses. It's ultimately got to be broken down into zeros and ones, and that is even broken down to pluses and minuses. That's all that's shooting up the optic nerve to the brain. And how does that all get reconstructed to emotions? People will die for emotions. They have no idea how that happens. Zip, zero. In fact, the more they investigate it, the more they're scratching their heads. They say the problem, this is the best answer they've got. The problem is, you're thinking about it wrong. You're thinking their emotions. That which makes us human beings, makes us people, makes us diverse entities is the sense of emotion. But they take, that's all wrong. When you hit your thumb with a hammer, it never happened, but it hit your thumb with a hammer. You don't say, oh, this hurts. You know what you should say? According to how the process of motion. You should say, oh, my C fibers are firing. Is that when you hit your thumb? Do you think, oh, my C fibers are firing? You're thinking all kinds of stuff. That's the last one. So my point is that to think that if we accept, Prabhupada said, once you accept the mystic power of the all-powerful Lord, all things become possible. I mean, think of this as one of my favorite examples. And maybe I haven't used it here in a while. And I want to get back to some other things. I'm looking at that. Well, what have I got? I got till 8:30. And then we take questions. I think that's it. Okay, so suppose Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I could float this glass of water. And suppose I could even pour it without my hands into my mouth. And send it back. You'd be impressed, wouldn't you? Hey, I'd be a little bit impressed, But think about it for a minute. It rained. My wonderful friend Sadhaputta, who's passed away from Bhaktivedanta Institute, it rained in San Diego was a 16th of an inch. That's a big deal. I mean, that happens in 15 minutes in Singapore, you know? But it doesn't rain that much, so 16th of an inch. And he figured out, okay, what is the size of San Diego County? San Diego County is bigger than Singapore. So he figured out San Diego, and he figured, okay, and to cover it a 16th of an inch, forget the fact that it fell in Riverside and LA and, you know, all the other counties. Let's be conservative. Take the little San Diego County, cover it with a 16th of an inch. Saraputa, PhD in statistics, figured out, okay, how much water would that take? How many gallons of water? And how, there's a fixed weight. I forget what a gallon of water weighs, but it's 9 pounds, so I don't know what it is in liters, whatever it is. Okay, so you can figure out to cover San Diego County by a 16th of an inch, how much water that is, how much the water weighs. It's billions, with a B, billions and billions and billions of tons of water. And Krishna's just floating it in the sky. So I float this little glass of water, and I'm Bhagavan. What about the Bhagavan who's floating all these billions of tons of water? And probably, you know, Parameshwar is one of the complete, you know, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate. Think about this perfect system. The sun shines on the ocean, right? It evaporates the water. And it takes only distilled water to produce the salt and all the minerals and all the trash behind, all the pollutants, and it sucks off the pure water. And then it blows it. It catches on the mountains. When it catches on the mountains, it pounds on the mountains. It brings all the nutrients, all the minerals out, flows down onto the plains, fertilizes everything, waters everything, gives nutrition to all the plants, takes all the waste, drops it back into the ocean. It's a perfect free energy machine. It's just running on. And Krishna can move the clouds wherever, he's got agents that take care of Indra's doing it. I mean, we live, and that's just one of so many unlimited examples. You, let's say me, can you feed your wife hay and she'll make milk? But Krishna takes a cow. Hello to you, sir. Krishna takes a cow, which takes straw. It's worthless. I mean, lower than a straw in the street. Nobody cares for straw. But he takes straw, roots it through a cow, and it comes out liquid religiosity. Dharma, Prabhupada says, the miracle food for old men and babies, it's milk. You make them breakfast. One man was saying, he was a biologist. As soon as he said he was a biologist, Prabhupada said, poor frogs. Because they're always dead. And immediately reduced the guy's pride, So, all glories to Prabhupada. So the man was saying we're on the verge of creating life. Prabhupada's classic example. Okay, fine. Take a dead man. It's all chemicals. Take a dead person. Put the right chemicals, bring them back to life. Car runs out of gas. You put petrol in it. Car runs. So if it's all chemicals, put the right chemicals in. Bring them back to life. Well, we can't do that. So Prabhupada said, all right then. Can you do this? No, can you do this? Finally, it came to the point, Prabhupada said, can you make me a fly? Just make me one fly. And if you think about it, flies can take, they can take off up, down, sideways. Have you ever seen an electro through an electric microscope, the needle of a mosquito, with punches. It's more complicated than, Schlumberger, or that oil company, and the hydraulics that go into drilling oil. It's much, much more complicated than that. That simple needle they poke in to suck your blood out on a mosquito. So Prabhupada gets to the point, he said, it's a very complicated machine, actually. And it's just created by Krishna. So this man we're going to create life. Prabhupada said, put the chemicals in it. Well, we can't do that. So finally Prabhupada gets to the point, can you make me a mosquito? Well, no, we can't do that. Prabhupada said, okay, can you make me a drop of water? A drop of milk? The man said, we can't do that. Prabhupada said, can you make me one blade of grass? The man said, we can't do that. So, they're just in the Kali Yuga with all the pride, and we get bewildered by it. But then what can they actually do? They can imitate something Krishna's already made, and it's brand X, it's an inferior product. And if we open our eyes and look around, we are living in a mystical, magical, overwhelmingly powerful world. And we don't understand. Add it to the list of things you don't understand. So here we see Krishna's plan. This is the nature of God. He can expand and have 16,108 palaces. Why not? It makes complete sense. What do they call somebody who has millions of they find out the guy dies, he lives in a little rat infested apartment, and he's got all beat up clothes, torn, ragged, living on dry chapatis. And when he dies, they find out that all of his furniture is stuffed with the $100 bills and CDs. You find out he's got millions of dollars. What do you think about that person? Call him a miser, isn't it? He had all that money, didn't use it. Jeez, what a fool! If we accept, which is profoundly manifested all around us, as I was giving some examples, the mystic power of God. If there's God who has all this mystic power and he doesn't show it, he's an old man with a beard, he's not in a very good mood, he's always throwing thunderbolts and cursing people. Jeez. What does it say? Advaita Chuta Anadim Anantarupam Andhya Parana Purusham Navayovanam Cha. So Krishna is the Adi Parana Purusham, he's the oldest person, Adi Purusha, but he's Navayovanam. He's a fresh youth. Now that makes sense. Suppose, I'll pick on you, you're a nice, fresh youth looking young man. Suppose I could make you, in addition to being able to float a glass of water, what if, poof, I could make you an 80-year-old man? Would you take it? Excellent. He's a Vaishnava. Yes, Maharaj. No, you wouldn't. You'd run as fast as possible. If I could, I hope you don't mind, sir, if I could take you, poof, and make you 20, would you take it? Actually, I wouldn't take it. I don't want to go back to being the youthful fool I was, But if I could go back with my consciousness to being a young man and have another, 40 years of energy to serve Krishna, yeah, I'd take it. So my point is that the source of all life is an old man with bad knees and not in a good mood. Does that make any sense? All wrinkled, does that make any sense? Do they do Botox here in Singapore? In America, the women do this Botox to make the skin smooth. So my point being, to wrap that up, and I want to say something else, that the Supreme Lord comes as a boar, comes as a half man, half lion, comes as a dwarf, comes as a fish. Think of all the Das avatars. Of course he does. Yes, he does. He wouldn't be God if he didn't sport, and he didn't play, and if he didn't blow our minds at every moment. That's our real God. Okay, so there, it's not mythical, it's not magical thinking, wishful thinking. No, it's seamless, consistent logic. Okay, now the other thing I was thinking, why does Krishna come? He's coming as the boar to save the earth. It means Krishna cares. Think about it. The Krishna, people say, why doesn't God just come down here and straighten things out? Right? If I say that to you, if there's God who's all powerful, why doesn't he just come down here and straighten things out? What's your answer to that? Who can I pick? I'll pick on you. What's your answer to that? Why doesn't he just come down and straighten it out? He doesn't want us to suffer. Nice try. It's I don't know. No, he doesn't. Why does Krishna want us to suffer? Why do? The fact of the matter, he does. He's coming regularly. He's coming as all the different avatars. He's coming, delivering the Yuga Dharma in every age. He's sending so many sages and rishis. He sent the Vedas. He's in the heart, giving good intelligence. Krishna's, I mean, it's all Leela for Krishna, but he's working hard. Krishna's trying again, and he, you can't understand that, we'll give you Christianity. You can't understand much more, okay, we'll give you another type of faith. He's giving all, in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you can't do that, we'll try this. You can't do that, we'll do this. You can't do that, well then do this. At least do this. Start somewhere. So Krishna's trying. He's trying to come down the chimney in the front door and the back door. He's knocking on the door. You look the other way, he's in your heart. So Krishna cares. He's trying to help us, and in addition to just having fun, Krishna also is trying again and again and again in every way, shape, and form to deliver the living entities. It's not that why doesn't he come? He's coming regularly. That Prabhupada said there's more incarnations than there are waves of the ocean. So one last thing, and then we'll take some questions. We're all trying to literally put a square peg in a round hole. We all want to be free from suffering. We want the kingdom of God without God. We want to enjoy, we want to be happy. And we're trying to push material nature to work the way we want it to. There's a problem. They say there's only one way. I'm going to give a new spin on this saying there's only one way. I used to rent a house when I was raising my children. And the landlord lived, it was a duplex. He lived in the front, I lived in back. And his name was Mr. Lowe, Lowe. And Mr. Lowe was not too smart. He was not the brightest bulb in the chandelier, as they say. My kids used to joke, they called him Mr. Slow. So Mr. Lowe was not too bright. So one day I'm driving with my kids, I forget where we were going, and we're at the stoplight. You know, you're at the red light, you're looking around, and we see Mr. Lowe. And Mr. Lowe was trying to get into a restaurant. You know, he's only from media away, and we can see him, and he's pushing on the door, and he's pushing on the door, and he can't get in. And he's looking, he was looking up at the glass, looking. There's people inside, they're sitting at tables, they're eating, it must be open, and he's pushing on the door and pushing on the door. And my intelligent daughter could understand the whole thing. She rolled down the window, pushed the window down and said, "Pull, Mr. Lowe, pull." "Oh, okay, thanks." And he pulled the door, walked right in. He would have been there for weeks, you know. So, but we're like that. It runs, there's only one way. Everything is designed, the wheel of Dharma is spinning. You know, Krishna says, I give you Jaga, and you know, and I send forth many generations of demigods and gave you Jaga. If we follow the Vedic principles, this world has a way that it works. We're trying to swim upstream, we're trying to put a square peg in a round hole. But we have to use things, Krishna's things, as Krishna has designed them. This body is not, like Mama said, this body is not designed to live like a dog or a hog, or a camel or an ass. It's designed for self-realization. I mean, you think about it. From form, you can understand the function. You look at the form of something, you can understand what it's used for. It's a fork, it's a spoon, whatever it is, you know. They're always putting together all the pot shards from archaeological digs, and they put it together and say, oh, it means this, and they must say, you know, from the form they figure out the function. Now this body, is it designed to eat like a hog? Can you eat anything and everything? You get sick. Okay, fine. You eat the right things. Can you eat unlimitedly? One scoop of ice cream? Is there a Baskin and Robbins ice cream here? That's still around? They advertise, I think you can get it one single scoop, double scoop, triple scoop. You can get said the diabetic sannyasi. You can get a bowl with maybe up to 15 different scoops. Anybody, they ever offer 100 scoops? You're sick to your stomach, you eat too much of that stuff, you know? Of course we eat prashadam and all that, but it's not designed for eating. I have so many examples. Is it that, I don't mean to be graphic, but is it designed for this boyfriend, girlfriend stuff? You get diseased, you can become impotent. And even if they can have a litter of so many kids. You can produce one kid, maybe a twin. Anything more than that, it's a freak. So what is this body designed for? If you look at it, it's the rational animal, I was saying last time. So my simple point is, Krishna's all-powerful, he's real. The Bhagavatam is not wishful thinking or just magical thinking. It's consistent, seamless, profound logic. And Krishna cares. He wants to save us. He wants us to go back to Godhead. All we have to do is do what Krishna says. When you put together something and it doesn't work, they say, you know, first make sure it's plugged in, and did you follow the instructions? So we're not happy, we're suffering, the world is a mess. But did you follow the instructions? So that's what we're about, how to live as a sane human being and recognize that Krishna loves us, Krishna cares, and Krishna wants to have fun. And that's our actual destiny, to go back home, back to Krishna, and have fun. Okay, so that's the gloss on Lord Board. Anyone have a question? Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Okay.
Yesterday in your class and today's class was very enlightening.
Can we make a deal? Save all that stuff. I mean, I appreciate it, and you're gentle Vaishnavas, but let's just save time.
Thank
Get to
you.
the point.
Thank you, Maharaj.
I'm
So-
already puffed up enough. I don't need any more.
So Maharaj, you told us
Just a sideline. You know where puffed up comes from? You've all heard the saying puffed up. In ISKCON, it comes, it's Prabhupada's term for a chapati. You know a chapati? Puffs up, if it's made right. But what happens when the chapati puffs up? Poof, and then it goes flat. So we're all puffed up, but the truth is the material nature is that little pin that poof, we all go flat. Okay, yeah, yes sir.
So Maharaj, you told us the process and the mode we are trying to follow. We have to do 16 rounds, 4 regulatory principles.
Minimum, probably.
Minimum, yes. Reading Prabhupada's books.
And not on a clicker.
And reaching.
I saw somebody the other day with a clicker with a nice tulsi bead on the top. You know, we want to, you know,
So, Maharaj, just want to clarify, we have some practical challenges in following this, though we try. So, I would like to ask you and take your advice. So, sometimes our 16 rounds, we are not able to focus all the time. So,
oh really?
yeah, so the mind is here. And
Join
there.
the club?
So, we have this
Oh,
challenge.
anyway.
Yeah. Then sometimes.
Can you ask, get to the question?
Okay, so these are like we have some challenges to follow these principles, methods. So just want to seek your advice, suggestion that is it okay or of course we have to try.
Question.
So question is, sometimes we are not able to focus. Is it okay? We should do 16 rounds.
Let me ask you this. Yeah, I'm thinking of a number of things. We are deeply conditioned. One of the things that happens, I'm thinking of so many things. It takes time. It took us lifetimes. Nitya Bhava, we have been in this material world and conditioned lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. We have so many illusions, coverings. You think you're going to shake that in 15 minutes or one lifetime? It's not. It takes time. If you're very diseased, it takes time to recover. So we should not many things require nuanced thought. And what I mean by that, this is one of those great sayings by Prabhupada. The intelligence means the ability. I heard Prabhupada say this. Intelligence, a proof of intelligence, sign of intelligence, is the ability to balance opposing points within the mind. Just like a Chinta Beta Beta Tattva, simultaneously one and different. That means you have to understand how we're one, how we're different, and you have to balance it. That takes some time. Sumatus of sufficient brain substance. Similarly, how do we balance that it's going to take me a long day. It takes time to become Krishna conscious. The mind wanders so many things. How am I not too hard on myself? That's one thing. And simultaneously push myself. I can't give you half the answer. Yeah, the mind wanders. We're deeply conditioned. There's so many distractions. So fine, let your mind wander, be distracted, no problem. I can't think because that's not right. You have to not be too hard on yourself. We have to have a quiet confidence that it works. You got to move over. Keep moving. I can't see. The path of the acharyas works. We follow it. It takes some time, but it works. Just like when the sun comes up. Oh, let me ask you this, because I'm thinking of so many things. Does the sun come up automatically? Like, it's dark in this room, I flick a switch, the light goes on, right? Instantaneously. Does the sun come up like that? It's called rati, or dawning of love of God. It's dark. Gradually, you start to see it's all one. And then you begin to see a little bit hints of shapes, right? Then it becomes gradually washed with color. And this is Prabhupada's example. And then there comes a point. So even before, it's called rati, or dawning of love of God. So even before the sun comes over the horizon, you know the sun is coming, right? You're confident the sun is coming. You can see it. Things are becoming lighter, clearer, right? But there actually is a point that the sun comes over the horizon. And if you can, I know it for Gayatri. What time does the sun rise? What time does the sun, when's at its zenith? How do you know? So there is a point. Prabhupada said, there will be a point that you will see Krishna face to face. But even before that happens, you have that confidence. Even before the sun comes over the horizon, you know that it's coming. I can tell you, 50 plus years of practicing Krishna consciousness, I know it works. I know what I was. I know what I am now. I've seen so many of my devotees around me. I've seen them, I've seen devotees in tough spots. And you have deep confidence in Krishna. I've seen Krishna use all of us. In the course of your devotional life, Krishna does some very mystical things. He cares about his devotees. We're under the Daiva Prakriti. The fact that this movement even exists in the age of Kali is completely mystical. So we have quiet confidence that it works. I'm making progress. As long as you don't keep pouring water, lighting the fire, pouring the water, you can't go out and have a hamburger and wonder, So on one hand, we have confidence that Krishna consciousness works, and we can see it in our own lives and in the lives of others. At the same time, we want to push ourselves. We don't want to tolerate, We should all be making plans how to advance. As long as I'm in the, and I'll take another question, but as long as I'm within the gravitational pull of the, suppose I'm sending a rocket ship, okay? Picture a rocket ship, and I'm trying to get it outside the atmosphere. As long as it's within the gravitational field of the Earth, what will happen if I'm not pushing that, if the engines aren't firing, pushing that rocket ship forward? If the engines shut off as long as I'm in the gravitational pull of Earth, what will happen? You'll fall back down. So you've got to push to keep going up. If you're not pushing, you're falling down. We are within the purview of Maya, illusion. And if we're not strict, if we're not pushing, always trying to increase, if we're not doing that, then as long as we're conditioned souls, the material nature is going to pull us back. So we've got to keep leaning into Krishna consciousness. I know that my japa, I love to chant japa, and I'm not using, so many devotees all over the planet are far more advanced than me. But I like to chant. It's my favorite time of the day. And I can tell you that japa gets sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. But you have to be serious. You have to sit in a quiet place. You can't be thinking about what's for breakfast all the time. It may wash across your mind. But you know, wherever the mind wanders, you pull it back, Krishna says. But if we seriously practice Krishna consciousness, trying, we have to study. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you're not thinking about Krishna, you're going to be thinking about something else. So, simultaneously, don't be too hard on yourself. After all, most people are completely in illusion. We're trying to be Krishna's devotee. I've seen people, because they can't do everything, they get discouraged, and then they just give in, I call it the ignorant, just because you can't do, because I can't do everything, I should do nothing. That doesn't make any sense. So as long as and Krishna will help us. So as long as we try, it works, you'll become purified, it becomes easier. The older you get, the easier Krishna consciousness gets. So don't worry. It'll all work out. Push hard, but don't worry. How's that for a sutra? All right. Anything else? Another question? I scared you all off.
Maharaj, I want.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, just I wanted to ask a simple question. That when times are good, then we can see Krishna's hand. We hear classes, we are all attentive, and everything is fine. But when times are bad, when things doesn't go according to us, what we feel is good for us, it's not good for as Krishna plans, then how to see Krishna's hand in those circumstances?
Let me ask you this. If we're so bright, if we've got such a grip on things, if our intelligence, our vision is so sharp, what are we doing in this world? The fact that we're here in material bodies, these collapsible contraptions, angry, envious, looking for this, looking for that, birth after birth after, we're not so bright, really. Do we know what's good for us? When I was a kid, I went to school for a few days. I thought, okay, I wanted to go to school like anyone. I saw my brother go. I saw my sister go. I thought, I want to go to school. So I was ready to go. I went to, we call it first grade. I went to first grade. I was there a couple days. I thought, okay, been there, done that. I want to go home. I want to have some snacks. I want to have cartoons. I want to eat cereal all day. I'm not doing this anymore, So, what was I going to say? So, if I had done, if my parents had given me everything I wanted, you don't want to go to school, don't go to school. Don't worry, no problem. You stay home and play all day. and you don't want to eat your vegetables, you don't want to eat, wheat, and you want to eat sugary snacks all day long and ice cream, go ahead, eat ice cream. Give me what I want. If God gives us all I want, what am I going to want? If I had had my wishes fulfilled and had never gone to school and ate everything my lusty little tongue wanted, I would be sitting before you now as a toothless idiot. And my life would be miserable. You get a good education. That's your propulsion into what you're going to do in life. You don't get educated, what are you going to get a job as? Working in the fender bender factory or what? So it all stems from what is the purpose of this world and this life. If we think, hey, I should be happy all the time, the default mode of this world should be pleasure, everything's easy, and I'm happy all the time. And that's the way this world is designed, and that's its purpose, to keep little Badrinarayan Swami in a content state. If I expect that, then I get, why is Krishna doing this? Why did I lose this? Why am I struggling in this way? Why has somebody I love died all of a sudden? What? Let's get specific. So, but Krishna's that is not what this world is designed for. If I go, maybe you have kids in college. If you're a kid and you're paying the tuition, and that kid comes home and tells you, here's my schedule. I'm taking advanced basket weaving, I'm taking film watching, and I'm doing clay pottery. Are you happy with this curriculum? Think, well, I'm not paying for that. That's not the purpose you're going to school. So this world is not meant to make us content, so we stay in this world forever. It's meant to shape us up and get us out of here. It's meant to cut our attachments, develop our deep love and dependence on Krishna. That's what life's about. Again, square peg in a round hole. If we want to just coast and be happy, time won't even let you do that. Everything's always changing. So the problem is in our conception. You follow? We're thinking this world is meant for us to enjoy, and it's meant to be easy, and if everything isn't smooth and easy and going my way, then where's God? He's cruel and vicious, and no. He's doing everything he possibly can to bring us back home, back to God. And Prabhupada said, I heard him say it, just as this thing, and Narada Muni, he was talking about Narada Muni, how he became realized, and it's what is it, lightning and illumination simultaneously. You will leave your body, and simultaneously, instantaneously, the next thing you know, you'll be in the spiritual world. Krishna, this way Prabhupada described it, Krishna and the cowherd boys will come over the hill, Krishna will wave you, come on, and you'll just join in and off you go. Now at that time, whatever your rasa may be, you're there with Krishna, we're in the spiritual world, we're enjoying life. Well, you think, yeah, but 5 births ago, he gave me cancer. And I got, where's the complaint box? I want to find the complaint box. You'll think, and I don't mean to minimize suffering in this world at all, but you'll think, thank heaven, Krishna saved me. I got a pin in I got a reconstructed ankle, I've got a pin in my leg, I've got a pacemaker, I've got 2 stents, I lost a toe, I'm half blind, I'm missing a vertebrae in my back. My doctor said, he teaches at the university, he said, I'm going to bring my students, my young doctor students, and I'm going to tell them, and examine this man. There's 14 things wrong, how many can you find? But I'm telling you, I don't want to go through it again. I'll be glad when it's over. I mean, just to be honest. But it is Krishna's mercy. What has happened to me in my life, my difficulties, it is Krishna's mercy. And it's made me far more Krishna conscious. It's made me love Krishna more, to feel, to know Krishna's presence. So I don't want to go through it again, but I'm glad I did. And I don't want to be, just an easy life where I've got, I'm a kanista adhikari and I come and see God once in a while and ask for something. Give me this, give me that. I don't want to stay there. So does that answer your question? It's in the angle of vision and understanding of, suppose I'm using a flute as a hammer. Okay, nice silver flute. I'm using it as a hammer. And I curse that flute. What's wrong with this flute? Doesn't work as a hammer. It's a lousy flute. Is the fault in the flute? It's not meant to be used. It's meant that you use a hammer as a hammer and a flute as a flute. It's designed for something else. And I'm the idiot that's trying to use it in the wrong purpose. Is it the flute manufacturer's fault? It's my fault. So is it Krishna's fault that we're not using things properly? We're not using the human form of life as he intended us to? And we're blaming Krishna? Anyway.
Thank
And
you.
in the meantime, and to wreck us all in here, in the meantime, Krishna's trying. As I was coming as a boar, he's coming. Krishna's trying to save this world. Prabhupada said, a man said, tell me about the incarnations of Krishna. Prabhupada said, this ISKCON movement is an incarnation of Krishna. And he's come again to save the world. It was a blissful moment, Okay, well, Linda, thanks a lot. Sorry, Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu's Mataji's.
Don't recap the class.
Not going to
Don't
read
thank
that.
you. You say thanks for coming, Swami. See you next time.
We can't do that. We have to thank you because
Go ahead.
I think we are so grateful to Maharaj. The points personally I took from yesterday and this morning, I think these are points that we have to contemplate as devotees. As Maharaj said, I don't think we need to summarize it, but it's all summarized in our hearts. We are really humbly requesting that whatever Maharaj spoke yesterday and today, we really have to take home. And it's really for practicing devotees. If we think what Maharaj spoke is for newer person,